Hi, today we're doing PEEPS' mother. And but she thought about the whole situation with his death and everything. The clip will play first, then I'll give my reaction. So here we go.
Hi. Oh, you can hear me, right? Okay, good. Good. Okay, so this first, I'm going to start with a little quote which made me cry, and it's from a great book by Kate DiCamillo, and it's called The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane, which is, you read that and you'll just...
Can you tell?
And I read that out loud to the boys. We read
She's
it
trying
every
to
night
keep herself
until they were
together.
11 and 13, just because we liked to do it. So the heart breaks and breaks and lives by breaking. It is necessary to go through dark and deeper dark and not to turn.
Come on, don't cry.
So that's just basically the big
Don't
idea.
cry.
That is, you just gotta go through it. Excuse me. In our shock, walking to get breakfast the morning after Gus died, Oscar and I tried to make each other feel like we were going to be okay without him. We hadn't really slept, but it was a sunny day, and we knew we needed to get out of the house and into the world for comfort. One of the things Oscar said to me was, "Mama, just think of what he accomplished in barely 21 years. He traveled to Russia, England, Belgium, France, and El Paso. I will probably never go to El Paso in my entire life." I mean, most people never get to do in their entire lifetime what Gus did in just 21 years. Many people have said these same words, more or less, to me over the past couple of weeks. Gus did it. He lived his own life on his own
She's a strong
terms.
woman.
He was
Very
a
strong.
stubborn, driven, talented, crafty, observant, and tender young man. Gus was also vulnerable. He hurt terribly when his friends' parents said he was no longer welcome in their homes. Once he had stopped performing well in school and had stopped playing sports. Long before that, though, Gus understood that many good people suffered injustice because of what they looked like or how much money they had. He saw how the cool kids who lived in the fancy neighborhoods looked down on his friends who lived in the projects and looked down on his own family who lived in an apartment and drove an old Nissan.
Snobs.
Gus got fed up with that world. He rejected it, and he rejected being molded into a box. Probably Emma, Ian, and Carmelo know more about why he began to feel that way. When he locked himself in the garage and got his first tattoo, he began to make his rejection of the box public. He dared the world. That's when some of his friends' parents told their sons and daughters they didn't want him to hang around with Gus. He cried when he told me about that.
I always thought it was cool.
That's when the adults at the high school began to look at him askance. He set his jaw when he told me about that. With a keen eye for injustice, Gus raised the ante. He added to his tattoo. He pierced various parts of his face. His ears, nose, lip, eyebrow. The more tattoos and piercings he got, the more he was treated like an outsider. And the more of an outsider he became.
Right.
Being an outsider, a reject, hurt him. He stayed in his room, barely mustering the courage to go to the library to complete the assignments necessary to get his diploma. And please, he graduated from high school, and he was on the dean's list the one semester he did of college. So fuck the people who said he didn't graduate from high school.
Right on, right on.
That was an ad-lib, I apologize. And he did it because of his, he liked Mr. Balsamo and Mr. Petschauer, but he liked Mr. Balsamo more because he had tattoos. And he did it because of his love and gratitude for Mrs. Hartman, who saw him for who he was and not what he looked like. Years later, Gus told me that it was easy to tell the difference between the people who saw his tattoos when they looked at him and the people
Right.
who saw him. Gus decided to move to California and left at 17. He tried to take classes, but few were available to an out-of-state resident. It was there that he discovered he could express his sorrow and joy and despair with his music. You may be surprised, you may not, but you may be surprised to hear that Gus and his housemates had a weekly Frank Sinatra night. His favorite song to sing was Fly Me to the Moon.
I bet she was a
And
great
he was
mother.
fucking good at singing it. When he returned from California, he began to make music at our home. My mother bought him some beats and explained to me why I should take this work seriously. So he and I drove to Best Buy, and I bought him a pair of fancy red earphones. He worked and worked and worked. He made me wear earplugs at night so I wouldn't hear him, but I did hear him belting it out. He worked like that typically through the night, going to sleep when I got ready for work.
Focus.
If you had seen Gus walking down the street, you might have been put off, scared even. You might have thought, what a loser, or yikes, I had better cross the street. If you had known he stopped caring about school, you might have thought, what a loser, and I don't want my kid hanging around with him. He could get into some bad habits. If you had seen his filthy fingernails, you might have run away.
I would have asked him, what are you into?
If you had made these
What moves
judgments
you?
about this teenager, then I ask you to use this moment right now as a time to reflect on your actions. Ask yourself these questions. Do I really know this person? Have I sat down face to face and asked him to tell me about himself? Do
That's
I
how I
know
do
what
it.
matters to him? Do I know what he values? What hurts him? What he loves? And why? Am I assuming this strange or scary looking person has no plans for himself? Have I asked him his plans? Am I dismissing this person because he does not match my definition of a good kid? Do I assume he does not work? Be honest. Gus was. Gus wrote a song about wanting to burn his high school down. He didn't like most of the adults there. He despised the social scene. I say most of the adults. Most, not all.
Yeah,
Must
a lot of
everyone
ignorant people
fit
in
into
the
the
world.
box? Why must we have a box? Who is this box for? Can we reinvent ourselves? Gus has left us with so much to think about and learn from. I want to thank you all for coming here today. Please do not make assumptions about people or events in ignorance.
Let me
Do you
tell you about the
understand what
box
I'm
in a
saying?
second.
Try to step outside of your own box and open your mind to new ideas. My sweet little peeper is gone now, but he has surely left us a lot of wonderful material to review and consider. He has left me with new people to know. I am so proud of him. You have no idea.
Okay. I felt for her. You can see where Gus gets his strength from. Now, real quick about the box you mentioned. When I was in school, they would give a math test, okay? And you always have to show your work. Do you know why? Because there's more than one way to get the right answer in math. If they only wanted to make sure that you knew how to count, they would give you 10 questions, look at the 10 answers, say, hey, this person is good. The box is, do you think like they want you to think? That's the whole purpose of the box. For instance, school, it's no coincidence that school, 9 to 5, or those, it's the same amount of hours as work. They're both 8 hours a day. Never mind, I'm rambling. I thought she was very articulate, very intelligent, very strong person. And like I said, you can see where Gus got it from. I myself have a tattoo. And I understand about tattoos. They mean something to the person who has them. It's deeply personal. Anyway, if you're new, please go ahead, subscribe, hit the notification button, and I'll see you, my newfound friend, in my next video. Take care of yourself.